Decades of global intelligence, covering everything from wealth building to ancient spirituality, are now freely accessible in Tamil through platforms like IS Sounda's podcast library, which have translated thousands of hours of bestsellers, making them available to anyone with a smartphone. But we are reaching a point where the barrier to entry is no longer the cost of the book, but the sheer number of hours required to actually listen to it. Simply downloading a podcast isn't the same as acquiring the knowledge. Every hour of audio carries a cognitive load that we often overlook when we hit play. Look at the difference between a physical book and its audio equivalent. Homo Deus requires 10 hours. Rich Dad, Poor Dad takes 4. These aren't just background noise. They require sustained attention that daily routines aren't built to handle. We often try to force these dense, framework-heavy topics into the gaps of a chaotic commute or a busy workday. When your time is the primary currency, you have to be selective about which format is actually going to provide a return. Treating every audiobook with the same approach often leads to poor retention. To actually get value, you have to match the book's specific genre to the environment where you're listening. We can evaluate this library using a simple ROI tool. We plot the cognitive effort and time required against the actual impact the book has on your daily actions. First, there are tactical frameworks for business and wealth. Robert Kiyosaki is a prime example of this category. You'll also find structured advice on goal setting and sales from authors like Brian Tracy. These books typically ask for 3 to 4 hours of your focus. The goal is to walk away with a set of immediate, actionable rules for your finances or your career. The trade-off is that if you listen while driving, you likely won't remember the specific step-by-step financial frameworks these authors are laying out. These tactical titles lose their effectiveness in audio unless you are prepared to pause the recording and take notes on the systems they describe. Next are the macro-intellectual epics, which cover history and deep philosophy. These require the highest level of cognitive input because they deal with complex, interconnected historical narratives. Yuval Noah Harari's Homo Deus is the most demanding example in the current library. You're committing to over 10 hours of a single, sustained narrative. The payoff is a perspective on human history and technology that maps out how society reached its current state and exactly where it might be headed. However, if you lose focus for even a few minutes, the logical thread of the philosophical argument can easily be lost. For the casual listener, these epic-length audiobooks are often a poor investment because tuning out means you've effectively wasted large blocks of your time. Finally, we have internal engineering, which focuses on mindset and spirituality. These usually run from 45 minutes to 4 hours, but they require a specific type of quiet, isolated environment to work. This section features traditional thinkers like Jiddu Krishnamurthy. It also includes psychological and success frameworks from figures like Napoleon Hill. The content ranges from the mental reprogramming of Dr. Joseph Murphy to specific Vipassana meditation sessions. The intended result is an improvement in emotional intelligence and a balanced response to daily stress. The trade-off here is environmental. Listening in a loud gym or during a stressful commute often works against the state of mind these sessions are trying to cultivate. The ROI of spiritual audio depends more on your physical surroundings than the quality of the insights themselves. To make this actionable, we need to map these categories to your actual daily routine. This matrix shows which audiobooks match your current bandwidth. If you are an optimizer with only short windows of time, stick strictly to tactical books from authors like Kiyosaki. You can absorb one specific rule in a single 20-minute drive. During these short windows, you should actively avoid dense history or philosophy to prevent the frustration of losing the logical thread. For the deep thinker with hours of undistracted time, Harari's epics are the right choice, provided you treat them like a focused study session. If you are currently overwhelmed, steer away from business strategy and use the shorter 45-minute spiritual tracks in a quiet space at home. A successful strategy is built on matching your available mental energy to the right structural format. It's important to remember that audiobooks aren't a way to absorb knowledge passively while you do other things. The medium itself dictates what kind of information your brain can actually hold on to. We should start viewing our podcast library as a strategic tool set, rather than just a way to fill the silence. Getting the most out of this massive library of Tamil knowledge ultimately requires the discipline to choose the right book for the right moment.